Hi there, thanks for taking the trouble to drop by. I'm Keith Ginsberg, and this video has been inspired by the Zoom meetings I've been having with friends in this past year. Well, art galleries have been closed, exhibitions have been closed, so we've been taking virtual trips to galleries to have a look at the work that's on show there. In this video, I want to show the work of two Russian 19th century mood landscape artists, members of a group called the Peredvizhniki, an artist cooperative who rebelled against the academic restrictions on their art. They produce wonderful paintings, absolutely fantastic work, and I really hope you enjoy it. So enough of the introductions, let's crack on. The Peredvizhniki were often called the Wanderers or the Itinerants because they travelled throughout Russia as a group, holding exhibitions and discovering new aspects of the Russian landscape to paint. They chose a lighter colour palette and a freer technique and captured the relationship of the Russian people to their surroundings. The first artist I want to look at is Isaac Levitan. He was born in a Jewish shtetl called Kibati, in what at the time was the Congress of Poland, part of the Russian Empire. And his work is often melancholic, a reverie of pastoral landscapes largely devoid of human presence, and he was a leading exponent of mood landscapes. He described space in a completely different manner from his contemporaries. His paintings often consisted of just three overlapping bands of colour. He creates an amazing sense of space and an unforgettable representation of the Russian landscape. Let's now turn to have a look at some of his paintings. The Vladimirka was the road out of Moscow to Siberia, the traditional place of exile. Levitan's painting, in its desolation and scale, reflects the emotions of the countless shackled prisoners who marched along it. Parkway. This early painting shows Levitan's mastery of light and shadow. Above the Eternal Tranquility is one of Levitan's most significant works. Tranquil, but at the same time dark. Tranquility can also be translated as peace or rest and refers to the graves on the headland next to the church. As you look into this masterpiece, you almost dissolve as the water, the reflections and the sky become one. I'm just going to show a few more of Levitan's wonderful paintings.
He became hugely influential. His heritage consists of more than 1,000 paintings and appears on the covers of Russian school textbooks. He had an affair with an older married woman, and it was the subject of a play by Anton Chekhov. He was buried in a nondescript cemetery just down the outskirts of Moscow, but during the war his remains were removed to the prestigious Novodevichy cemetery, and he was buried next to the Chekhov necropolis. In fact, he was so important, a planet is named after him. And despite being repeatedly expelled from Moscow because he was Jewish, in 1897 he was elected to the Imperial Academy of Arts, and the very next year he became head of the landscape studio. The second artist I want to look at is Arkhip Kuindzhi. Kuindzhi had the ability to reveal nature's innermost essence. The birch grove was a subject Kuindzhi returned to time and again. All of Kuindzhi's works are distinguished by his mastery of colour and light. He was a real master of contrasts, and one of his secrets was to use a system of complementary colours. In Moonlight on the Dnieper, the mystical light from the moon turns the natural setting into a space of dream and magic, one that enthralls and hypnotises the viewer. I saw this painting when it came to the National Gallery in London in 2004. I stood in front of it for nearly an hour, totally enthralled and hypnotised, and at the end of it still couldn't work out how he painted it. So, that's the end of the art, and wasn't it absolutely wonderful? I was struck by Levitan's use of different perspectives, sometimes very high perspectives looking down, sometimes looking up from very low perspectives. And I also noticed that he had a variety of different heights for the horizons in his paintings. His colour palette was also very interesting. He used a range of almost pastel colours, very much of the same value, but he overlaid those with very strong darks and contrasting lights. Kuindzhi was also a master of colour and light, especially in his night scenes, and he demonstrated tremendous feel for transitions of shade. He also displayed amazing attention to detail.
For instance, in Ukrainian Night, the stars in the skies are all in exactly the correct position and in the correct constellations where they should belong. And yet, his paintings verged almost to the abstract in their melancholic feel. One of the ways he achieved this was by not painting detail in the foreground of his paintings, much against the convention at the time. And his expressive use of colour, including an oil derived from asphalt, gave his paintings maximum impact and feel. There were a few links in the video today, and I've listed them below so that you can find out more. If you've liked this video, don't forget to hit the like button, and if you haven't already, do subscribe to this channel so you can see more of my painting videos in future. As always, I'm available on ginsberg.co.uk, where all the links to my sites and channels are there. So, thanks once again for dropping by, and I hope to see you again soon.